Good morning, Chris. This is Paul. I think you've seen all this before. Well, probably haven't seen the valve covers on yet, and the new chrome, the fresh chrome on the valve covers. I don't know if you saw that we have purchased a new fuel pump or not. I think this is your rebuilt generator, and you have a rebuilt starter. We did run a compression test yesterday. We got 135 pounds in all the cylinders, so that's all good stuff. We did make a discovery. We actually made the discovery probably a month ago, maybe longer, and that was that when asking Jim, the fellow that you put us in contact with, that rebuilt your Dearborn-Matic transmission, when we were talking with him about, because the plumbing wasn't making sense, the oil plumbing wasn't making sense, and so when we were talking about, we were putting it back the way it was, but it just wasn't making sense. So just so you know. And so he says, well, you have a gray marine heat exchanger. That's for a gray marine engine. That's not the proper heat exchanger for that engine. The proper heat exchanger for that engine, I can show you, is what is on this other 312. This is the proper heat exchanger for that engine. That's what should have been on there. And he said, you don't have the proper water pump. This is the proper water pump. And this is a raw water pump. It has two rubber impellers in it. So, okay, all right, well, how did that happen? Well, and how did this pump possibly work? That was on the engine, well, it was in the boat. And how did the heat exchanger work that was on the engine that was in the boat? Because these guys came directly off the engine that was in the boat. Well, the other thing we observed, and I made a little drawing here, is in your boat, there is a scupper. There are two scuppers within, we'll say, a foot from the back of the boat. And they had hoses that ran up to either side of the water pump right here. And at the heat exchanger, there was a T. There were two T's. And so looking at that, it's like, okay, well, under power, we were definitely shoving water into the water pump. And I suppose once you got the water pumping, perhaps it would continue to pump okay. I don't know. But the heat exchanger, this is a doozy. In this line, there were two T's. And probably a half-inch hose, as I recall. Yeah, probably about a half-inch hose coming off of that line. Two of them. One for an inlet, one for an outlet, of course. There was no restriction in this area, right here. So, therefore, you really had no way to make water flow through the heat exchanger, which might explain why that engine had been changed and bored so many times. So, I really don't know if this, I'm going to look I've got, a full set of prints for this. I'm going to look and see if ever this was a location for the scuppers. But this just feels wrong. Even if this was the way they did the prototype, this feels wrong as far as long-term viability and use of the boat. Because if you're not moving, my guess is we're really not going to be flowing any water through your oil cooler or through the block of the engine, for that matter. So I'm planning on purchasing the correct water pump according to our expert on the matter, Jim, and also the correct heat exchanger. I am going to research, like I said, I am going to research the hardware placement and see if this was ever a layout that the factory did or approved of. So what I want to do is get this engine all settled, running, build, properly build in such a way that, that this comes out about what I told you it would be, in terms of cost. And I want to get all that done. And then we're working on also quoting, the work to finish the boat, which is the sides and the bottom. The good news is the bottom's removed, and most of the repair work's been done half of the repair work's been done roughly. okay, a third of the repair work's been done to the frames. That is, we've attacked a third of the frames, so I'm guessing maybe we have half of the repairs made. And then of course, we already have your interiors all done. We have your dash panels. We have your new windshield. We have your chrome. We have your stainless buffed. So I believe that number is not going to be real awfully bad. So anyhow, but I'm wanting to get this dust settled before we even start down that other path. I want to get this all done. So that's the reason you haven't heard from me in a while. We got way behind when I was taking care of my dad, and thank goodness you haven't been in a great big hurry, and we've been able to put you on hold. And at least I hope you've not been in a hurry. I guess you haven't, because I haven't heard from you. And we've been able to put you on hold and get some of the other stuff out of the way that we brought in and probably should have turned down back when Dad was living with us and became ill. So anyway, that's the latest update, and we'll that's what I'm planning to do. Let me know if you don't want me to do that for any reason whatsoever, but otherwise it'll be ordered later today. Talk to you soon.